Broadcasting to you on WNN 1470 AM and TrentoVision.tv from the world's leading think tank laboratory, buried deep in an undisclosed building in hostile territory where evil and corruption is exposed. You're about to enter the Tom Trento Show.
Say the Superman show, the way that intro sounds.
I know, I love that.
You know, in the bunker, we're saving the world faster than a speeding bullet. Yeah, we are. We are all of that, and we're glad you're here with us today on Thursday, 20th of June. And all you guys, yeah, man, the summer is zipping away, but you have a home right here every day, 5 o'clock East Coast time, WNN 1470. That means they can drive in their automobiles.
Yes.
Push the little button. I heard the other day, Ford the automobile. You know what Ford means? Fix or repair daily. Fix or repair daily.
Are found on the road dead.
Found on the road dead, yeah.
Is that the new Fords? Because my old Ford lasted for 100 years.
No, the new ones are actually good, and they did not take.
I was going to say they're not government owned, so they must be better.
They did not take the TARP and the stimulus and all that other kind of crazy money. But Henry Ford was a little bit of a whack job, I got to admit that.
Yes.
He was a racist.
He was a lunatic.
He was not the friend of Jews everywhere by any means.
The protocols of Zion and all that good stuff. I mean,
he published them in the United States.
I know, and handed them out.
Up in Dearborn. Why do you think all the Muslims are in Dearborn?
Yeah, we heard the story about that up in Dearborn, where he actually hired Muslims to come in and work at his plants, and that's the reason the Muslim population started back in the 30s and everything.
Plus, he spied on his employees.
Yeah. I'm just thinking. I have some.
He had morals and standards police for his employees, and he spied on them.
I have some Jewish friends. They won't drive Mercedes-Benz. They won't drive Ford. They drive Camrys. They have Camrys.
They won't eat Cadbury's. They won't take Bear aspirins.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But that's principle. But in any event, we're here to elucidate the insanity of the world, make sense out of it, so that you can have an enjoyable life fighting the jihad. That's what this week is about, folks. We're part 4 of our 5-part series. It all began last Saturday, 15 June, when our producer, Damon Rosen, was just cruising northbound on Jihad 95 in Palm Beach County. He was just driving
along.
Innocently
driving along.
Just saying, I'm going for a little ride. And what does he see?
Jihad.
Woo-hoo, jihad. He sees a little sign on the side of the road that said jihad.
It was so small, he almost passed it by.
We may even, through the magic of television, have a picture.
Yeah, we might. If we had a little pre-warning on that.
If we had a warning of that.
Somewhere in the show.
We have in the archives, if you go to youtube.com/The United West and watch yesterday's show or the day before or the day before, you could see it.
Or you can donate.
Or you can actually look on the screen right now.
There it is.
You see how I gave you enough time to load that?
That's right. Thank you, CJ. Thank you, CJ.
That little sign you're looking at, folks, is 20 feet
It's
high.
taller than 20 feet.
Oh, it's
60 feet wide. Somebody spray painted jihad on the sound barrier wall in Delray Beach, Florida, Saturday, June 15. And Damon, who was covering the story for us, became the news when an individual pulled up to the news trucks and the neighbors that were all standing there looking at the word jihad. And we have a special guest with us. He's a professor, Jonathan Matusitz. He will be with us shortly. And he's a professor in the university system in Florida. And he's from another country, a European country that has a jihad problem.
Yeah.
We have him on our show today as an expert to help us understand this concept of jihad, what it really means, what's going on, and we're going to take a special look at some summer camps because we're well into summer, and all of you want to send your kids to summer camp, and we have a couple of suggestions.
You want to go to
for
Bible
them.
camp, and you want to
it's
take your
possible.
kids to Six Flags and Disney World.
And you
Well,
wanna
that's the
learn how-
kind of thing that you do when you're
or you wanna
teach
learn
them how to
right.
swim,
Or we can send them to
or we could send them to Gaza.
Yeah.
the jihad camp.
To jihad camp, and you can learn how to kill Jews.
There are camps, summer camps in Gaza to teach little kids how to do jihad on the heads of Jews.
That's right.
We're going to
that's
take
good.
you there.
That's
We're going to
good.
show you that.
That's where your humanitarian aid goes when it goes to Gaza. It goes to teach kids in school and at play how to hate and kill Jews.
If you think we're kidding, stay tuned to this show. It's an expose on something you may have heard about, but we're going to show you some pictures of actually little kids in training to become jihadis to kill Jews in Israel. And you want to have peace with the Gazans and the
These
and the
are your
Hamas?
partners for peace, you idiots.
Yikes. Well, Jonathan Matusitz is going to help us understand all of that. And Jonathan's the victim of a little jihad action by folks you would think would not be taking up the theoretical or figurative sword against him.
Well, we
He-
have
he was
we
in-
have gone after them before,
He was invited to speak at a Republican Executive Committee meeting.
right?
You know, we in here have spoken at many of them.
Right.
And his expertise is terrorism, counterterrorism, communication.
Terrorism and communication. So he
He was invited by the Pinellas County Republican Executive Committee,
Pinellas County, that's St. Petersburg for those folks of you who don't know.
St. Jihadsburg.
Yeah.
And ironically, our guest that you'll see in a little bit and hear in a little bit was disinvited because of his message
Yes.
to
because,
Republicans.
Yes.
The heck is that all about?
Well, I think he was going to quote the truth from the Quran,
Uh-oh, you can't do
And-
that in America today.
and somebody said that was hate speech.
All right, well, in any event, folks, Tom Trento, CJ, Mark, and we're traveling light today. A
We're
little light
traveling
today.
light today because it's summertime and
It's
everybody wants
summertime.
to go play.
Yes. So,
So boys will be boys, and we're a couple short in the
Yeah.
bunker. Well, actually, we're
so for some reason, our pictures go like this upside down. Don't worry about it. We'll
Don't
write
worry about
everything
it.
up, and we'll be here with you. But it's been an amazing week. It started on Saturday the 15th with Damon making the news. We've showed you that many times. We may show it a little later again.
Well, we have it if you want to show it.
Then we do?
Yeah,
Let's set the context for our Jihad Week, because this was so powerful, this event that ironically Damon happened to be at. Here's the whole story right here.
No, it's not a problem. Why is jihad not a problem?
Two men swearing, shouting, and nearly swinging at each other over a massive graffiti message spray painted on I-95. Good evening, I'm Ben Becker. Janet has the night off. Our cameras were rolling when a war of words broke out over anti-American graffiti. CBS 12's Carl Mann is live in the studio with how it all happened. Carl.
Well, Ben, you're looking at the spray-painted message that started the argument you just saw. In bold black lettering nearly 20 feet high, this graffiti work reads, Jihad, as you can see right here. And of course, in Arabic, that term is used to describe a holy war. Thousands of drivers saw the large message clearly when traveling northbound on I-95 in Delray Beach near the Atlantic exit. The spray-painted word, Jihad, created a fight that only CBS 12 caught on tape.
We started our interview and I saw these nice ladies over here starting to get upset with him.
With our microphone flipped on and our camera rolling,
You got a problem with this?
Yeah, he does.
With it saying jihad, right?
our news crew was quickly caught in the middle of this war of words. I was interviewing Damon Rosen about the Jihad spray-painted message, something that disgusted him. That's when an unidentified man left his car, and just like that, it was on.
Jihad is not a problem.
No, it's not a problem.
Why is jihad not a problem?
Things quickly escalated. The unknown man, who did not oppose the Jihad message, shifted his shouting to a crowd of bystanders.
You're brainwashed.
The group of onlookers hurling profanity back at the man.
You're gonna lose your job.
Rosen then jumping in
Take that back to the Muslim land.
with his own choice language.
Take that back to Allah.
Things then getting very heated as the unknown man left his family in the car to get face to face, the finger pointing and yelling, all caught on tape.
You wrong.
Word.
You wrong.
It's a
word!
The man who did not see the big deal about the jihad message making one last statement to those nearby before speeding off.
Just for the record, there's no terrorist.
My throat's going a little bit from yelling at that jerk.
Rosen came back to where we were before to finish the interview. He laid out why the spray paint sign irked him so much and why he stopped to get a closer look, adding that it had nothing to do with race.
Because that guy was white. These women are black. I'm white. I'm Jewish. I have Christian friends. Okay? This is about an ideology.
Rather, the ideology behind the jihad meaning, saying it's something that has caused terror in our country time and time again. Promoting it in such a public way like this message along I-95, according to Rosen, is the last thing we should be doing with our time.
It's time for people to wake up before we have another Boston bombing, before we have another 9/11.
Police found spray paint cans on the scene and are still looking into who wrote this large graffiti message. They couldn't tell us if they thought it was some kids pulling a prank or a legit threat of terrorism. Florida Department of Transportation was on scene this evening painting over the jihad sign. They say it will be gone by tonight. Live in studio, Carl Mann. Ben, back to you.
All right. I still can't get over that news report that was last Saturday, the 15th of June. The news reporters said they defined it as what? Did you catch that?
Holy war.
Holy war.
Jihad is a holy war.
Right.
Also, law enforcement couldn't decide if it was a prank done by kids or an act of terrorism. So nice to see law enforcement acknowledging that jihad is terrorism.
But how could
I guess they didn't get the memo.
But that's very revealing, because how could, it's a misdemeanor, maybe a little larger because of the amount of money. But how is that an act of terrorism to write the word on the wall? It really isn't. It doesn't violate any
There's no terrorism.
Well, if you know what jihad means and you see it 60 feet wide on the side of the highway, you could be terrorized by that and think that, oh, we're going to have another Boston here, we're going to have another Fort Hood here, it's going to be another 9/11, and our town isn't safe.
Well, if you look at it this way, like exactly what you're saying, CJ, if you look at it as kill Jews, kill infidels, kill all apostates,
right?
Kill gays. Yeah, I mean, what if you wrote kill gays on the side of the wall? What you kill
what
Jews?
if you wrote hang all gays?
Right.
And you showed a picture of it.
Right. Well, that's
on the side of the highway.
That's what jihad is.
That's what jihad is.
Yeah, well, and that's why we're doing this show this week, this 5-part series on the jihad, defining it for you, bringing illustrations. And in the Patriot Act, there is some language that allows for words to intimidate in a particular fashion. So if you stretch the Patriot Act a little bit, you may be able to use that word in some violation of the Patriot Act. But typically, that kind of speech is protected speech.
Of course.
But what's behind it is the issue.
What's behind it is the issue,
key,
and the idea is that whoever the spokesman was for Florida Department of Law Enforcement equates, in his mind, jihad with terrorism.
Which
doesn't think it's a journey of self-discovery, and doesn't think it's a benign expression of protected speech.
Fortunately, we have a terrorism and communication expert on who wrote a book about it.
Helpful.
He wrote a book about it today.
And he will be with us shortly, so stay with us, folks. This is Tom Trento, WNN 1470. That's the radio side. Many of you who have been watching and listening understand we simulcast. That means we send out 2 signals at once. One goes to a radio station in Boca Raton, Florida, 50,000 watt station. North Miami all the way up to Orlando, a couple of 100 miles. We cover about 5 million people. Pretty big signal. And then we're building our internet TV audience. We broadcast on YouTube. We live stream on YouTube. 5 o'clock East Coast every day. For those of you in Brussels, I think it's 6 hours later, so it's 11 o'clock at night. And Brussels
and
may
you're
have
probably just
something.
having your dessert at that time, right?
Yeah, some chocolate or something.
Yeah.
And you may have, that may have something to do with our guest in a little bit, too. Who knows? But we're so glad you're here. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at The United West. The United West is our counterterrorism organization where we learn all this stuff about the jihad. Be sure to like us on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube/The United West, and come with us to Israel. If you want to know jihad and you want to see the epicenter of jihad ideology, jihad thinking, jihad targeting, you stand with us. You come with us and walk down the Jewish quarter, the Christian quarter, the Armenian quarter, the Muslim quarter in the old city, and walk up to the Kotel, the Western Wall. You have that little experience. Your life will be changed, and you can do that with us. September 30th for about 2 weeks into October, and it is life-changing. And all this stuff we talk about will become very real, extremely real in your lives.
And
come with us.
we had a good guest the other day when we had Mark Langfan on the show the other day, and he made the point that he wanted people to know who are thinking about going to Israel is not just to think about how the United States needs to be a friend to Israel, but to recognize how Israel is so important strategically for the United States.
So important.
And so when you go with us there, I think you'll really get that into your heads a little bit.
So Tom at TrentoVision.tv. Send us a note. Let us know if you're slightly interested. Then we'll tell you all the stuff you have to do. But
we have summer camp.
Summer camp, Mark. If you can come to my screen, here it is, folks. Summer camp.
Summer camp. Jihadi in paradise.
For all of you driving in your automobiles, we have a nice graphic up on the screen of a summer camp letters, real big, with the sun and a campfire, and and really, Mark and CJ, if we want, we have this too. If you come back to the screen, we have kids.
Look at that.
You can go to the mountains for summer camp.
I tell you, that just looks like Camp in Brith to me.
Yes. You can go up to the mountains for summer camp, or everybody has the campfire at night.
Oh, kumbaya! Look at that.
Look at the campfire.
Sing songs around the campfire. Well, if you can come back to us, I'll go find some other
summer camp
pictures.
Okay. So as you have those images in your mind, look what Tom's going to bring up next for you.
Not yet, not quite yet, not quite yet, not quite yet.
Now those were in the United States, right?
Yes.
But we're going to travel across the world. We're going to go over to Gaza.
We're going to take a little tour of other summer camps.
Other summer camps elsewhere.
All right, here's a...
Summer camps not here. Well, actually, I don't know. They probably do have them here.
Actually, they do.
They do, because we do have the homegrown jihad training camps, so they probably have them for kids, too. We actually did an expose
on that at one point with, what was his name?
Martin Maurer.
No, the other Campbell. The other Mark Campbell.
Jason
Campbell.
Yeah.
Right.
Jason and Martin
Maurer.
Yeah.
Christian
Action Network. Yeah.
Okay, but if you can come to my screen.
Okay.
This now, just a mere flight, and you can come with us. See, when we go to Israel, we will stand. We're not going to go into Gaza.
No, we will be looking at it.
We'll be looking at it. And in Gaza right now, they have a Gaza kids. I'm reading a headline of an Israeli newspaper.
Yeah.
Gaza kids play kidnap the Israeli soldier
in summer camp.
So why just play grab the flag?
Capture the flag.
Red team, blue team, relay races, canoeing.
All that good stuff.
No.
Why
Islamic
waste time?
Jihad invites thousands of children to pick up AK-47, fight summer ennui in activities ranging from shooting practice, fire jumping, and IDF outpost attack.
Oh.
And part of their brochure has this little picture right here.
Their promotional brochure.
Their promo brochure.
If you take a look at their promo brochure.
Oh, yeah. Well, they could capture the flag.
They do.
They play capture the flag.
There you go.
Capture the Israeli flag.
They got blue and white on
capture
on
the
black
Israeli
and
flag.
green.
See,
yeah,
it's just like our summer camp.
Yeah.
And what we're looking at, for those of you driving, we have a picture of some preteens holding AK-47s. They look like real AK-47s.
These are age 6 to 16.
6 to 16.
Yeah.
And they are all in the Palestinian Hamas black, and they're running over a little berm. They have the Israeli flag they're carrying, and they're dragging what?
A body.
A body.
Of whom?
Of an Israeli
IDF. They are practicing at summer camp in Gaza.
You guys have a problem with this.
This is where our money goes. Our UNRWA, United Nations Fund. This is
You guys are very close-minded. You know, this is just a different version.
But listen, guys,
of
I don't want
Capture
you to,
the Jew. That's what
you know
do.
what? You guys are so jaded because it's not just about shooting, killing, kidnapping, fire jumping. You know, aside from these important technical skills, the camp organizers also promise religious lessons.
Oh, religious teachings. Religious
Yes.
teachings. They do.
Yes.
They do.
So it's not all about technical
It's not all
and
about
fun and games.
It's not all about just kill Jews.
No.
Okay,
It's
okay.
also a deeply spiritual experience, apparently.
Make the little jihadi recognize paradise is in his future. Go
And
to
here's
my
the-
screen
got
again.
it, got it.
Here we have now. They have now they're practicing cover fire. They have the little Israeli soldier. That's the little kid in the center. We're looking at another picture. This is
Okay.
really pictures of a brochure of summer training, summer camp for 6 to 16-year-olds in Gaza being trained. And the Hamas actually uses live fire. See the explosions back there?
Yeah.
They train these kids. Stay with me. I'm going to give you another picture right here. Now, here we have an adult jihadi in the background.
Right.
And how old do you think that kid is with the AK-47 in the
He
foreground?
can't be any more
Oh,
like 6,
I was going to
7,
say he
8.
looks about 7, 8 at the most to
10
me.
tops. 10
But only
tops.
if he's malnourished, and how
Yeah.
could he be?
I'd say I'd have to go 8 or 9. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
if,
like this
if,
one
if
too,
you're
Tom.
if you're driving here, folks, today
Yeah.
on Thursday the 20th, a little bit after 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Tom, get that one.
If you're
too,
dri-
from
yeah, I
the
got that one,
CBN,
yeah. If you're driving in your car, be sure tonight or tomorrow to go to
YouTube.com/the
YouTube.com.
United West.
Yeah, .com. So go to the YouTube channel /the United West. That's our channel. And look at today, June 20th, and look at these pictures. I mean, they're heartbreaking because you look at this 6 or 7-year-old kid, you say, okay, let's take him out of there, put him with a Christian or Jewish family in Boca Raton, Florida, in Chicago, in Los Angeles, anywhere. A family that preaches love and patience and responsibility. And this kid will have a completely different life. He's here now training with weapons to kill Jews because that's what his adults want to do. And it's hard. I mean, if this is child abuse.
Yeah, to put this in parallel, you're making a really good point, Tom. If you go back to the Hitler Youth training,
Yeah.
World War II soldiers, when they came back from after the war, they said the most fiercest fighters of all the people weren't the soldiers at the beginning of the war, were the ones that towards the end of the war who had been through the Hitler Youth training camps, who went through the whole indoctrination process, and came out and said these guys were just completely brainwashed, and they feared the little 16-year-old kid more than they feared the veteran with a gun because this guy's suicidal, and that's the same type of thing that's happening in these camps.
Yeah.
Well, and come back
and
to
it's a follow-up too, because don't forget, it's not like these kids have a normal life during the year and then they go to camp and they learn something horrible. This is what they're taught all year in school, at home, at the
just
mosque,
an extension
on television. So this is the natural extension of it. In other words, there is no break for these kids from the time they learn how to see and speak and hear that it's all jihad all the time.
And that's why we at the United West TrentoVision have been preaching now for about 5 years in Israel, no peace, only security.
Right.
The Israeli, when you have an obligation to run a nation, when you have an obligation to run a business, when you have an obligation to run a family, when you have an obligation to run a little company, what we're doing here, you've got to do it on truth, on a foundation of truth. The Israelis need to understand, and I think they do. We've been over there; they understand this, and the West needs to understand.
Some of them do.
Yeah, and the Americans need to understand that you have to base your public policy on factual information. How the hell are you going to come up with some sort of peace policy when everyone is trained to kill and destroy and to eradicate their peace partner?
Well, not only that, it's not that you should try to come up with a policy. It's that you should try to give away more of yourselves, more of your land, more of your resources. For what? Because it's going to change the minds of the people who train their children like this?
No, what has to happen, and we've been, so what's the answer, Tom? The answer is
Get
very
rid
simple.
of the indoctrination. Stop indoctrinating this generation and yourselves, and maybe in 2 generations, if you stopped everything you were doing now and became productive members of the Western world, then maybe you could talk about actual peace.
And
otherwise, you have...
That's what has to
You're
happen.
over here, I'm over here, you stay on your side, I'll stay on my side, stay out of my business, I'll stay out of yours.
And that's what
And
has to
that's
happen.
it.
And
What were some of
we'll
those
do it.
pictures that CJ wanted to show? I was
The one, the summer camp in the Gaza Strip, the picture on the front page of the CBN one.
Oh,
The
I get it.
CBN
I got it right
news.
here. Well, before we go to that, come back to here for a second. This is very interesting. And then we'll bring the professor on in a couple of minutes here.
Well, he doesn't want to be called the professor.
Oh, okay, Jonathan.
I'll call him Marianne. Okay.
Part of their training, and you can see it in the photo here, folks, is if you remember a few years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, Gilad Shalit. Remember that name?
Yes, we do.
No, I don't.
Gilad Shalit was the soldier who was on a post, and he was in a tank, actually. These guys were in an Israeli tank, 4 of them. And the Palestinians surprised them and killed 2 of the guys in the tank, pulled Gilad Shalit out. 1 guy got away, and held him for 5 years. Well, big deal. What's the big deal about this? Well, CJ, you're Jewish.
Well, you
Tell
don't
what
negotiate.
Tell what
You
happened.
don't negotiate with terrorists,
Yeah,
right?
except
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 that
they
they
did.
did.
and
Except for they did.
the Jewish people value one human life so greatly. They exchanged it for how many? What was the final count? Like,
I think it was thousands.
it was about 1,000. So the Palestinians.
So that sends a message that
we value one Jew more than we value 1,000 people who want to kill us and will take a shot at us tomorrow because we'll regroup ourselves and protect ourselves against
And
them.
after 6 years of negotiating, about 6 months ago, Israel started releasing 1,000 Palestinian prisoners in exchange for Gilad Shalit. And so right now, right as we speak in Gaza, they are replicating the exact kidnapping procedure to get Gilad Shalit to little kids, training them up, saying, look,
go get your own Gilad.
we're fighting an asymmetrical war. We don't need tanks. We just need to capture one of their guys.
We just need one of you
Yeah,
guys,
exactly.
and we're going to keep you spinning and tilting and dancing to our tune for as many years as it takes. Because they don't care. This is a culture of death. They don't care how many children they have to lose. They are the mothers, the grandmothers. It is glory to them for their sons and their grandsons to blow themselves up in jihad. Okay, this is a culture of
Well, you get a
death.
financial reward for it, too.
This is a culture
You do.
of death.
If your kid
There's
blows
no
yourself up,
value
yeah.
of life whatsoever here. Until you change that, these are not productive people in the world, period. This is what Islam, this is the core, the essence of what Islam really is.
And here's the beauty of our philosophical position, because we're accused by the left and others of hating Muslims. How could you hate these little kids? Your heart breaks for this little kid holding an AK-47.
Good point.
How could you have hatred for that kid? You take that kid out of a hateful situation and rescue him, just like if somebody were shooting poison into his veins. Islam, the system of Islam is poison in your veins, in your life. We don't like the system of Islam. We love human beings, and we're trying to attack the system of Islam intellectually, philosophically, to wake our Muslim friends up to say, guys, you're in, some of our former Muslim friends call Islam a death cult.
Yeah.
You're in a death cult that doesn't allow you to think, doesn't allow you to leave on your own volition.
Exactly.
What is this?
If you think that because you're a moderate person and you may not go to the extent that Hamas does, that Gaza does, that the Palestinian Authority does, you're missing the point. They are practicing true Islam,
Right, exactly.
and you are not.
Okay, time for a professor, I think, or a Jonathan, as
Yeah,
the
or
case may be.
Jonathan, yes.
It is what, 29 minutes, 30 minutes after 5 o'clock on...
That was well done.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
30 minutes
20,
after...
29 minutes. After,
30 minutes after 5 o'clock on June 30th. No, it isn't. 20th.
No.
June 20th,
Thursday,
2013.
June 20th.
Yes. And we're here on WNN. If you're driving going, what the heck is this stuff out? It's interesting. WNN 1470.
And don't
if you're
forget
watching.
about iHeartRadio.
You can
Oh,
listen
yeah,
on
forgot the iHeart.
iHeartRadio. So many ways to listen to our
Anywhere
melodic
You
in
can
the
listen
world.
to it on
Anywhere.
your
iPhone.
smartphone.
Anywhere in the world.
On our melodic voices. Well, another voice is going to join us right now. And it's a gentleman we met not too long ago, Alan Cordman,
Yep.
as
Who we
good
had on
friends
yesterday.
with Professor Jonathan Matusitz. I met him a couple of months ago at an event up in Orlando. And we saw the story where Republicans, and full disclosure, I am a registered Republican, having a lot of problems with my own party, folks. But we saw the story where a Republican executive committee out of Pinellas County invited our guest to speak on terrorism and then disinvited him. What the heck is going on?
Yeah,
Jonathan Matusitz, welcome to TrentoVision. Let's give him a warm round.
Hi, thank you for being on the show.
And I think I even spelled his name correctly.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
You got to put his audio on. Hang on, we got to put your
Oh,
audio
we got to
on.
get your audio on.
We have some new guys on the board today. There you go. Go ahead. Are you there, Jonathan?
Well, hi, CJ. Thank you for having your show. Well, to the point, in May, the PCRC, the Pinellas County Republican Executive Committee, invited me just to give a speech on the Islamist threat to America. And some of the members complained that the speech had nothing to do with electing politicians, or the speech was too sensitive because it was focusing on Islam. And Michael Guju, the chairman of the PCREC, in fact, he's the chairman of the Republican Party of Pinellas County, called me to express the concerns voiced by some of the members, and then he disinvited me. I'm not blaming him whatsoever. I think he felt a lot of pressure from various forces, but he felt that he should not have me on. Even in the future, I'm not going to give a speech there because apparently my presentations are too controversial, because it's about I'm using Islam and terrorism in the same sentence, and so it's PC, political correctness, and I don't buy into that. I refuse to be politically correct just to please everybody. I like to focus on facts. As a professor, I like to be 100% factual, or at least I try to be.
Oh, isn't that an oxymoron? A professor that's trying to be factual and articulate?
Yeah, how'd you get that
and
job?
how'd you get that job? I mean, that's a definite rarity from my experiences in the Central Florida.
Oh, you're
an
Orlando guy, right?
Yeah, because I've been up to.
Well, he's over on this was over on the West Coast.
Yeah, but the Pinellas County. What I was going to ask, up in the Central Florida area, and also throughout the University of North Florida and the University of South Florida, Jihad U, is we've seen nothing
And here
but
at FAU, too.
nothing but professors, especially in the Florida university system, they bend over backwards to bring in Siraj Wahhaj, cater to the Muslim Students Association, do nothing, and then anybody who tries to make an objection and saying, listen, this guy was is a terrorist, this guy here, did this with terrorism, you are immediately shut down by the university system. You're taken off campus, and you're not being violent or in their face. You're just saying, and they don't give you the time of day. How does that, as a professor and being in this school system, how do you deal with that pressure?
Well, I try not to be judgmental. I try to be factual by citing facts and statistics. I wrote a book for the class that I teach, Terrorism and Communication, and the book has over 1,700 footnotes. So if I say something in a presentation that people don't like, instead of going on Facebook and vent their frustrations like fifth graders, what they should do is just, at the end of my speech, during the Q&A, is just challenge me. For example, professor, you said this. I think you're wrong, and then they make their point. It rarely happens. I mean, a lot of those people who don't agree with what I do or what I say they actually don't confront me.
Well,
They just
I'm not so much talking about the students. I'm talking
You're
more
not
about
in the mic. Yeah.
I'm not so much talking about the students. I'm talking more about the faculty and staff that we've had more problems with. And the students aren't actually that bad. It's actually the professors who just will not hear an articulate view from CIA or from FBI folks or anybody, let alone people like me.
Well, I think that in academia, I'm sure a lot of people don't share my views, but I also think that a lot of people share my views, but they're not as open as I am. That's probably what it is.
If I may ask, how did the invitation initially come about?
Well, I've given quite a few presentations on that topic in Central Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So it's human network theory. So if people like my presentation, they will talk to other people so they can invite me. And of course, I speak for free, so it's always incentivizing.
Right.
PCREC, so the Pinellas County Republican Executive Committee, contacted me in May. We would like to have you give a speech on June 10th.
Okay.
And on June 7th, on that Friday, I was disinvited because the topic is too sensitive, or it does not pertain to the mission of the Republican Party, and I think they're wrong. I think
How long's your speech,
the
Professor?
Islamist threat is a very important threat. It's real. It's no conspiracy theory. So I think they're wrong.
How long's your speech, Professor, that you give, that this particular lecture was going to
45 minutes.
45 minutes.
Okay. Well, we
Well,
invite you.
hold
We
on.
invite you.
I'm going to give you a formal.
There's a happy ending to this story.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say, we can get this out.
Yeah.
Instead of just a handful of people,
Oh.
we can get this message out that that we shut down from the Republican community. We
Yeah.
can get it out to thousands of people in the Republican community. We'll shoot a video of it.
Yeah.
Give you presentation.
I was rescheduled elsewhere, so I did give my speech on June 10th, just at another location.
But
It was at
I'm
the
just
Golden
making an
Corral.
offer.
And
Offer
that
to you.
Golden Corral had a huge room, so we had almost 100 people who showed up. So
Okay.
it was a blessing in disguise.
Okay.
What do you think of the idea that the representatives of a major political party would be so afraid of what it is that you have to say that they wouldn't want their members to hear it?
Well, I think that a lot of people in the Republican Party are about the same as people in the Democratic Party. I think it's a two-headed snake. They care for political correctness. They don't want to hear the truth, and they care to get more votes. Now, let me just say something. According to a lot of sources, most Muslims in the Western world do not vote Republican or conservative anyway.
Oh, we know.
No, we know that.
For
Yeah.
the past few decades, a lot of people have pandered to Muslim constituents. They still didn't get their votes anyway.
Right.
Right.
So we might as well tell the truth about jihad. And I like the conversation that you had before having me on. You were talking about summer camps in Gaza.
Right.
You have a lot of summer camps in Pakistan. And in
Right.
Pakistan, a lot of young kids are being given rifles with bayonets, and they're trained to kill by just hitting mannequins with bayonets. And they have to jump through hoops of fire. Those kids are 10 to 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's a lot here, folks. We have Jonathan Matusitz. He's a professor in the Florida system, and he's becoming a very good friend of ours and doing tremendous work. Let's get to know you a little bit, Jonathan. You seem to have an accent.
Yes.
What is that accent? Where are you from? How'd you get here? And what's going on in your country back where you came from?
I'm from Belgium, like Dr. Evil and Jean-Claude Van My country is a very liberal country, and I have no problem with multiculturalism, but I have a problem with policies that favor immigrants over the host of the country. And for the past 30 or 40 years, a lot of European countries, especially in Western Europe, have open arms. They have welcomed a lot of Islamic immigrants. In a country like France, you go there for 4 months, you get health care benefits for free, you get unemployment benefits for free, you get child allowances.
I'm moving.
Of course, a lot of them will go there massively. And now, a lot of these countries are overflowed with people who apply for those allowances, which means that the economies of these countries are in the tank, right? At least it's part of the reason.
But it's not just a question of economics. It's a question of these immigrants come, they actually have no interest in their host countries apart from the benefits that they reap. They establish no-go zones for themselves where they're ruled by Sharia law. They make more demands on the host society for more benefits, more concessions to Islam for everybody else. So it's not just, I want halal food available in my neighborhood. I insist that everybody else in the country serve it wherever they are.
Right.
Free enterprise or not, just in case I happen to be there, because I'm offended if you have pork served anywhere near the Capitol or something like that. And that's what's happening over there. And the liberal elites of these countries are saying, yeah, okay, because we're so multiculturally minded, we're so politically correct, we can't distinguish between cultures that have positive values for society and cultures that have destructive values for society, and we're just going to kowtow to this.
Tomorrow's show, because we already taped it, is a debate between a Muslim out of London and Chris Logan, Logan's Warning blog, and they got onto halal. And the Muslim was saying, what's the big deal if everyone, the Muslim apologist for Islam out of London, argue that the Sharia should be implemented worldwide. And he says not by force, but by persuasion. And he said, what's the problem if all of you Americans have to eat halal food? It's a particular way we treat the animal, and he the way he was sounding, you think it was
not kosher.
You think it was
a vegan or something.
No, some cook in the kitchen saying, "Oh, this is how we're doing it real nice." Some cooking show that just sounded real nice.
Yeah.
So, but let's get back to the Pinellas County Republican Executive Club. This is a black mark on that club, and what happened, folks? We're talking to Jonathan Matusitz. And he's a professor in the Florida system, was invited to speak June 10th to the Pinellas County Republican Executive Club. That means these are the people running the Republican Party for that county, Pinellas County. 67 counties in Florida. Each county has an Republican Executive Club. I've spoken at many of them. His topic was on terrorism, that whole issue. But somebody didn't like his message, said you can't come here. Well, there was an uproar in Florida. The blogosphere got hit. Many people, were you surprised, Jonathan, all the people taking a position to defend you when that happened?
Well, yes, I was surprised. See, the topic was the Islamist threat to America. And, I see myself as an ordinary man. I just... outside of academia, even in my small circle, outside of my small circle, not a whole lot of people know me. So I was surprised that a lot of people got interested in the whole debacle from the Pinellas County Republican Party. So it made me more popular.
Now what happened? What happened? Where were you? Give us a feel. Let the audience, the listeners, and the viewers feel the emotion you went through when you got that phone call that says, "Get the hell out of here, Jonathan. You're not coming."
You're a hater, yeah.
Well, I was shocked because it was the first time that it happened. No Tea Party, no Republican Party, no academic institution had turned me down before. So it's, but I'm over it because I had the chance to give the talk elsewhere, and it was very, very successful. A lot of
but I want to walk through this for a second. But when whoever called you said, "Sorry, you're not coming," did you ask the obvious question, why? And what was their answer?
Yes. And they said that they would like to have me on, but they're afraid of bad press. Yeah, they were afraid of bad press. They were afraid of losing constituents.
I can't hear him.
Bad press and losing constituents?
Yes.
Here's what really happens, Jonathan, because we've experienced this many times. Not your story is actually a repeat story of many times in the Republican Party. What really happens on these things is they for example, we'll use one individual's name, Imam Musri, who was the Republican advisor to the governor of the state of Florida. He's a well-trusted, well-respected, imam in the Republican circles. Even though we caught him collecting money for Hamas inside his mosque, which we later got him removed off the advisory board to the governor. But these people are, these are Muslim Brotherhood operatives that intentionally go into the Republican circles to influence Republican ideologies and opinions. And so what happens is the Republican, whatever chair of whatever county is there, says, well, who's an imam we can talk to before we bring this guy in and see if he's okay.
Vet him.
And so what they do is, how they vetted you was they contacted probably someone like Imam Musri or Ahmed Badir, probably Ahmed Badir being down.
Probably, yeah.
And says, well, what about this guy, this Jonathan Matusitz, professor guy? What's his? Well, he's going to be talking about terrorism. Well, have you talked to him about what the subject material is going to be talking about? Well, yeah, a little bit. We know a little bit what he's talking about. And they said, oh no, he's going to be talking about hate speech. Don't let him down in there, because we won't support you. The Muslim community won't support you, and we're going to have a backlash against you if you do that. And that's exactly what happened. I guarantee you that's exactly what happened.
But you know what else happened?
What
now, Jonathan? You gave us the feel for the bad call, the negative call that was a little shocking to you. How long was it between the disinvitation to the new invitation? And what were your feelings when you were invited somewhere else?
It was basically a 3-day difference. On June 7th, I was disinvited, but on June 10th, I gave my speech in the same city but a different location. Right. But during that 3-day period, of course, I was just sad and what is going on? Yeah. And I think the problem had more to do with internal divisions within that specific Republican Party than actual just interest in my topic.
Right. It's that whole... Some Muslim supporter got to them and said, hey, here you go. You can't have this being said about Muslims.
But on the positive side, somebody stepped in. Now, who was it that was the hero of the day that got a new venue for you?
A woman named Debbie. I think a lot of people were going to attend my speech at the Republican Party, but they went to my speech at the Golden Corral instead.
So they booked his speech at the Golden Corral restaurant. Right. Now, I heard some of the story that that people went into the Republican Executive Club meeting and put invitations down for Jonathan Matusitz's talk at the Golden Corral. So people came, looked at that,
picked up the invite and went to the Golden Corral.
And it was a handful of people.
You call it communications. See?
Terrorism and communications. There you go.
Now,
people to understand is that jihad is more than just holy jihad. And we talked about holy jihad. We have AK-47, suicide belts, but there's also civilization jihad, and through Sharia. So it's trying to destroy Western civilization from within.
Well, all right.
We understand.
This sound like we're talking Alan. That's
no, but we want to dig in, and we want your explanation and analysis of this jihad sign in South Florida. But before, I want the audience to understand that we've got a systemic problem in the Republican Party, folks, in the state of Florida.
Yes.
We know this. We've butted heads with many Republicans in this state that are bought and sold by the Muslim Brotherhood leadership in this state. And we know very well, Jonathan, the real number of Muslims who vote, the percentage for Democrats, for Republicans. We heard it. You ever hear that saying? I think that saying is in Belgium, straight from the horse's mouth. Well, in here in America we have a saying, in Florida anyway, straight from the jihadi's mouth, right? Right. And we heard from Imam Abdul Jahori, who is the outreach director for Dar al-Hijra Mosque in Falls Church, Virginia. Anwar al-Awlaki's mosque. This guy now is in charge of outreach. We were in a meeting with him in Florida just a year ago, right now, this month. And
down in Tampa,
yeah. And actually May. And he told us the truth, and we videotaped it. And Mark, remember what he told us?
Yeah, he said anywhere from like 95 to 98%. You know, it's what the numbers are going to be.
Yeah.
Because but don't get us wrong. We're still going to go outreach to the Republicans because we want to get inside the Republican Party too. Because we really don't care who's in power. We want to be able to stop this issue no matter what we do. So that's what he's.
Well, what he said. Let me finish this. What he said was, the Muslims are going to vote in 2012. 98% will vote Democrat, and he said the ones that don't agree with the Republican policies. They just are protecting their money. They think the Republicans have better policies on the economics, and these are the rich Muslims were going to vote Republican, and everybody else was going to vote for Obama.
This is very much like when Pamela Geller was disinvited to speak at the synagogue in Long Island, and then lo and behold, 2 more synagogues. Yeah, because of the outcry. What are you trying to shut this woman up for? They said, you know what? Come speak here. You know what? Come speak here. Now, 10 times as many people ended up hearing her as would have heard her in the first place if she had just gone to the first engagement. And it's the same thing here.
Same thing, same exact situation.
Same thing here. It's the same mentality. If we did play it at the beginning of the hour, the sign with the jihad.
Yeah.
And you could see the man who pulled over and was screaming and swearing at Damon Rosen, who's a producer for our show, and he was saying, "Jihad, it's an effing word. There is no effing terrorists," he's yelling. And this is the brainwashed mentality. This is the guy who goes to a Republican club meeting.
Yeah, I bet she does, driving that big Cadillac. Yeah.
All right. And he's brainwashed. He's brainwashed by this civilization jihad.
Well, tell us, Jonathan, what, as a communications expert on terrorism, we're looking at your cover of your book right now on... We've just got a few minutes left in the show. It's about 10 minutes to 6 p.m. on Thursday.
Go ahead and hold up your book again, John.
We keep putting it up there.
You keep putting it up. There you go.
On Thursday, the 20th, just a few minutes left in the show. If you saw did you see that news report of this 20-foot high, 60-foot wide graffiti jihad, the word, on I-95 in South Florida?
Yes, it was very shocking.
What is that, as a communications expert, what does that word mean when you see that? What is the writer intending to communicate?
Well, if you wanted the whole world to look at it, he was probably referring to just struggle against the enemy, against Western civilization. And again, you can do it in many ways. Holy war, civilization jihad, the lesser jihad, the greater jihad. But basically, it's a call it's like a dawah. It's a call to arms against the enemy, against us.
So where does that leave Western civilization? You're from a multicultural country, Belgium. You're from a country that's a severe Islamic problem.
Yeah.
You're from a continent that has a severe Islamic problem. You're in the United States, and you have the best of both worlds in a sense. What the future could look like here, what the president is looking like over there. In the remaining couple of minutes we have, what is your warning to America?
Look at the European mistake and don't repeat it. That's my warning to America. A lot of people in Europe say that it's too late. In 40 years, a lot of the European cultures will just be gone, right? It's like a demise of European culture. By sheer virtue of procreation, a lot of Muslims have 7 to 8 children per family, and that has been validated according to federal stats. Conversely, a lot of non-Muslim European families have very few children, right? For a culture to survive, for a culture to be sustained, the fertility rate needs to be 2.1 children per family. If it's 1.8 and below, the culture will die out. It's just a matter of a few generations.
Another aspect of it, I think, for Europe is that you have the European Union, so you don't really have the same national sense in each country as you used to. You kind of gave that up for a national government that is not accountable to the people and that does not express any form of European culturalism at all. It's really just a totalitarian regime, which Islam fits perfectly well into. And we have now in the United States, this administration is chock full of people like Samantha Power going to the UN, Susan Rice over at NSA, and that's what they want for the United States. They want the borders of the United States and American identity to disappear, and they want a one world kumbaya government ruled over by the UN. And that's why jihad is successful as a civilizationally wherever it takes root, because people have lost their individual, national, and religious identities, and they're ripe for takeover.
You said something very disturbing, Professor, about the birth rates. You said one is irrecoverable, is at 1.8, and where are we at in the United States?
Below 1.8 or below. In a country like Spain, I think that the fertility rate is only 1.5. In Italy and many other countries, it's between 1.5 and 1.7. Europeans have fewer and fewer children. In the United States, I think we're right below 2.1, thanks to Hispanic families. I mean, they have the most children.
Right.
So
Catholics.
That's very disturbing, because I know these birth rates he's talking about are just incredible, especially. And what we do in the United States, they not only have these children, we put them on financial assistance, and that's what happened in Europe too. Correct, Professor?
Oh, in a country like Belgium or France, you may make more money by receiving child allowances and unemployment.
Oh, you could do that here now too.
That work.
Yeah, but it's coming. Actually, you look at Dearborn; it's happening in Dearborn a lot too.
Yeah.
Okay, we're all doomed. What are we doing? You know, what's the sense? What's the sense?
Prevention is better than cure. That's what we should let people aware of the problem and elect local politicians who have pro-American values.
Yeah, tell us something positive, Jonathan. Tell us something positive. What's the good news?
Well, the good news is that in America, there's still a chance just to counter external forces that threaten Western civilization. And how do we do that? By making people aware of all these problems, by electing local politicians who have pro-American values. See, the place to take it is to the local people, at the grassroots level, at the local level.
As long as the Republican Club doesn't shut you out.
I got one last very important question, and then we got about a minute left. Is it true or is it not true that Belgium chocolate is really the best chocolate?
Yes, Belgian chocolate is really good, and let me give you a piece of trivia. Belgian chocolate makers refuse to share their recipes.
Oh.
They're going to remain unique.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Okay, I got a little something going on there. All right.
And different is actually a good thing, right?
That's a good thing.
See,
Good
yeah,
thing.
they could keep at least that secret.
Yeah. We ain't giving you anything. You can have our country, you can have our
have all
chocolate.
our NATO archives, but we're not giving you the chocolate recipe.
Jonathan, we're going to have to let you go. Thank you very much. We will have you
Good to
back
meet
in the
you.
future. It's the end
I'll
of the show.
read your book.
You take care. Bye-bye.
Put his book up again.
Yeah, we'll put his book
Yeah.
up. Past few seconds. Well, folks, Thursday, drawing to the close of another Jihad Day. Tomorrow, tune in for this very interesting debate between Chris Logan, loganswarning.com, and Hassan Mack, Facebook/Hassan Mack, a anti-Islamic apologist, Chris, against a Muslim apologist. Great stuff.
We had a very good week, yeah.
It's a great week. See you.
Thank you for all our guests this week.
See you Monday. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.